And welcome back to the channel where we talk about only good comics. I'm Brant, and this is Friday First. This is that series where we talk about those brand new #1 issues, character debuts, story arcs, and the like. This is for the first week of June 2024, the books that we're going to be talking about this week. So we have a lot to talk about. There's a lot of big books coming out, but before I get into all of that, I just want to talk about a couple of things real quick. I am recording this like it's storming outside. It's Friday morning as I'm getting packed and ready to leave for another comic convention. It's actually an anime convention. I'll share the screen here real quick. This weekend, June 1st and 2nd, I will be at Kimo Kawaii Anime Experience and Convention in Conroe, Texas. It's near Houston. If you are in the area, come say hi. We'll be mainly there with Lisa's Loops and Scoops crochet brand, but we will have some of the last number press books out as well. So come check us out. This is the third year for the convention, I believe, and lots of stuff going on. So if you are into voice actors and anime and cosplay and all that cool stuff, you can come by Kimo Kawaii. Check it out at kimokawaii.net. All right, so let me close that and get back over here. So it's gonna be a fun time, and my first ever anime convention, so I'm kind of excited about that. Check that out, and hopefully the rain stops before we actually have to drive in it, because it's over 3 hour drive to the area. So so I'm trying to get all this done, and I didn't have a whole lot of chance to read a whole bunch of books this week. I did read 4 of the books from last week, so I will talk about those briefly in just a second. It seemed like there was something else I was going to talk about here, and I can't remember what that is. But anyway, I'll skip that and just go straight ahead into things. But there are a lot of books to talk about this week, so I don't want to waste any more time. Let's jump right into those recaps from last week's show. All right, first up, we have Wolverine issue #1. I almost did not talk about this on the show this week because I wasn't loving it at the beginning, and this channel is only good comics. I do try to keep it positive and talk about books that I actually enjoy. And it just wasn't my thing for most of the book. It felt very much like if you're a fan of Ghost Rider, if you're a fan of typical Wolverine stories, this will probably be more up your alley. It wasn't so much mine. But then the twist happens at the end, and I don't want to spoil that because obviously the book just came out. There is a little twist to this story, and as it involves this Wolverine character that I didn't see coming, and it made me more interested because the only teaser I'll give for this is because I have been reading the Sabretooth War, and something from that plays into this. So that was very interesting to me, and it makes me want to read the next issue to see how this came about and where this story is actually headed. So yeah, it wasn't really my thing for the most of it, but those twists didn't intrigue me. Again, if you're a fan of Wolverine and Ghost Rider, though, I think you'll probably enjoy this. Obviously, Benjamin Percy writes this and has written Wolverine and Ghost Rider, so definitely intimate with the character. And if you've been enjoying his runs on these books, you will probably like this as well. Next up is Black Panther Blood Hunt issue #1. Another tie-in to the Blood Hunt series, and this one explores Black Panther's struggle with trying to carry out his duties in Wakanda and protect his people, at the same time as being forced to do Blade's bidding after being turned into a vampire. And honestly, again, for most of this issue, it was deep into like this mystical lore of Wakanda and stuff going on there that I'm not familiar with and that I'm not connected to. So it was a hard thing for me to get into for a good 2/3 of the book. But I think when the Blade stuff started kind of coming up more and more as his influence started to weigh heavier on Black Panther, that got me a little more intrigued. At the same time, this would be the one tie-in. Well, I think there's been two tie-ins that I've read that I've been like, yeah, I don't really need to read that. I think this might be one of those that it's just not for me. But if you're a big Black Panther fan and you want to see him trying to fight this control that Blade has over him now and protecting the people of Wakanda, then this will be for you. One I actually did enjoy that I'm actually surprised I enjoyed was Midnight Suns Blood Hunt issue 1, which sees Danny Ketch and Johnny Blaze and another character that I cannot remember her name, all coming together to try to stop Blade. And this is like the reuniting of the original Midnight Suns, taking on one of their own. We don't see them battling Blade in this issue, but it's definitely hinted at coming up. Now, I'm not a huge Ghost Rider fan, and I've never read like the original Midnight Suns stuff. I'm actually not really a huge Blade fan either, although I did enjoy the movies. But I felt like the way that this particular book was constructed and the way these characters came back together and the mutual driven purpose of this quest all made sense. It was all very organic. It came together very nicely. This felt like a supernatural movie coming together, where these old teammates come together to take on one of their own that's broken bad, and that's what it felt like here. And I felt like it was written well. The art was pretty decent. I enjoyed seeing the two Ghost Riders with their different power sets come together as well, and the magic element added into the mix too. So I thought this was a solid tie-in, and I'm going to continue on with this one. And then finally, we have Death Ratioed issue 1 from AWA. This was actually a one-shot, and I did not realize that reading it until the end. I thought it was it says it right there on the cover. I just, for whatever reason, it did not register in my brain that this was a one-shot. But it's an interesting commentary on the effects of social media. So this story takes place in 2046, and this man has been in a coma for 22 years. Slipped into a coma after eating at Applebee's, which they distinctly call out the logo and everything in this book, and wakes up in 2046, and the world has changed. There's been a social media war, a literal war, and now everyone wears these dislike collars, where if you get too many dislikes, your collar will blow up and you will die. So it's taking the like and dislike kind of format to the greatest extreme possible, and social media has ruled our lives in the future, just 22 years from now, in this scenario. And it was interesting because as I was reading it, I was thinking this is a really strong commentary on cancel culture. And it's funny because Mark Russell, the writer of this book, writes an afterword. He writes one, Axel Alonso writes one, and the artist writes one as well. But in Mark's, he distinctly says, I was afraid that people would think this was an easy layup on cancel culture, when it's really this larger commentary on the effects of social media and this groupthink, this mass intelligence kind of think on various topics. And funny enough, what I mainly got from it was the cancel culture kind of stuff. But I can see what he was going for with it, because obviously you have in this book, there's another element to it that presents a different kind of groupthink that's counter to the like-dislike system, and neither one is good because both go to the extremes on different ends of the spectrum, and the sweet spot is in the middle of it, that is more, pun intended, I'll say, organic. And I'll just leave it at that. If you read the book, you know what I mean. But it was an interesting kind of take on it. Not my favorite take on the subject, not my favorite book, but I did enjoy the message, and I enjoyed our entry point into it, which was this man coming out of this coma and experiencing this world fresh, and having to adapt with in this timeline an archaic viewpoint on the matters, and realizing that everything he says and does has a very strong effect on not only his life but lives around him. So definitely interesting exploration into the effects of social media, I will say. Is it my favorite book? No. Did I enjoy it? Am I mad I got it? Not really. I thought it was fine. So, and that's it for the recap. So let's get into this very long list. It's actually not that long. I've got 10 books to talk about, one honorable mention, and 9 other books to talk about. So a bigger week than I've had in a few weeks. So let's dive right into those. All right, first up is my one and only honorable mention. This is My Adventures with Superman issue 1, based on the animated series on Adult Swim. I do not watch the show. The concept and the previews and stuff just didn't appeal to me personally, but I did want to shout this out. If you are a fan of the animated series, you'll want to check this one out. This is written, I believe, by Josie Campbell. So solid writer writing this, so check it out if you're a fan. Okay, next up is the Mammoth issue 1 from Mad Cave Studios. This just looked interesting to me. I don't know a whole lot about it. I haven't seen previews or anything, but it's basically this valley where this monster, this phantom-like creature, comes back every so often and causes chaos, and then just like disappears for years and years at a time. And now this phantom creature has come back, and it affects the lives of 4 people very badly. This Olivia, Jess, Kokoro, and Mason. These are scientists who have come to this city to investigate all this stuff going on, and seismic activities, and all the stuff that's going on around this area that supposedly, I guess, ties into this mammoth creature. I suppose the creature's name is Mammoth, but it says here, one real problem with this is Olivia's dead, but she comes back, I guess. So I don't know. It's interesting. The thing that caught me really was this cover. This creature looks really interesting to me. A very large, very spooky, swirly kind of creature, and then these 4 characters. The art looked really interesting to me. And the concept, it's almost like ghost hunting, but one of these characters is dead at the same time. So that sounded interesting to me as well. Paul Tobin is writing this. So I don't know. I don't know much about it. I'm going to give this one a possibly good, just because I don't know. But again, the art and the concept just kind of grabbed me. And I'm like, oh, this sounds like something that I would enjoy. It sounds right up my alley. So I'm going to check this one out. All right, before I continue, because of the storm outside, I think my connection is not great. So if anything is like, if the video gets blurry or my words pause or whatever, I apologize. It's my internet connection because of the storm. Anyway, next up we have Falling in Love on the Path to Hell. This is a new series from Image Comics, written by Jerry Duggan and with I guess Jerry Duggan and Gary Brown. And this is a double-length first issue. I'm merely trying this out because it's Jerry Duggan and I like Jerry Duggan's writing. But this is, it looks like this is like in the aftermath of gunslingers and samurai, and kind of following up on this female samurai in the wake of all that, as that time has kind of faded into the past, and we see one of each, a female samurai and a male gunslinger, kind of exploring the world together, I guess, and going on a revenge quest. These are lovers destined to be, and they're wounded and worlds apart, but they wake up together in this purgatory that is ruled by this society of warriors that have been damned. So they are kind of in the afterlife, I guess, kind of exploring that together. Interesting take, kind of a supernatural bend to it, I suppose. And again, it's Jerry Duggan, so I'm going to check it out, at least the first issue. I don't know if it's going to be my thing or not. This kind of series is usually kind of a hit and miss for me, but because it's Jerry Duggan, I'm going to give it a potentially good, and hopefully it'll grab me. All right, next up is Profane #1 from Boom Studios. This is written by Peter Milligan from Ecstatics fame and so forth. Obviously done a lot other stuff than that, but that's the one that sticks out in my brain, and it's also referenced here. But this is surrounding a detective, a private detective named Will Profane in the Los Angeles area, and his latest case. The center of the mystery points to a famous detective novelist, which kind of changes everything and opens up this unreal world. So I'm assuming that maybe fiction meets reality, and maybe there's some kind of tie into that with some kind of extra normal paranormal stuff going on. I don't really know, or it could just be, I don't know. It says it's a mind-bending thriller here, so I'm not exactly sure which direction they're going to go with it. So I don't want to put it in your mind it's a supernatural book, but it could be. I'm not exactly sure where where it's actually going. It says Will's world will transform into something truly unreal, so that kind of leads me down that path to maybe this novelist that's at the center of this mystery is somehow pulling from real things into his stories, or maybe his stories are becoming. I don't really know what the concept is, but it was intriguing enough. And the cover is one of those vague covers that just gives you a little bit. You got the silhouette of the woman with like the man's like the scene kind of spilling out of this profile picture, if you will. So that was kind of an interesting artistic kind of thing to pull you in as well. So I don't know. I really don't know how to feel about this one. I need to see a preview, need to read this first issue, but I'm going to give this one a possibly good. Next up is Wolverine Blood Hunt issue 1. Just keeping on the path of all these Blood Hunt tie-ins. This one is written by Tom Waltz, who's done a lot of IDW stuff. It says Logan fights back to darkness. Wolverine's the best there is of what he does, obviously, and fighting vampires, of course, is going to be part of that. Tom Waltz from TMNT, The Last Ronin, as well. And it's Juan Jose Rep is doing the art, so it's going to be like very detailed, very like what's the word I'm looking for? Almost like a horrific art. I think he's done a lot of stuff with Avatar Press, so there's more of a horror bend to his art. Usually kind of leans into a little bit more gory style, so we'll see what that looks like, especially with the Blood Hunt book. That seems like a good fit. And it's just Wolverine's part in all this stuff hunting vampires, it looks like, and it looks like there's going to be some surprise characters coming back, maybe some vampires from Wolverine's past as well, so that could be interesting. So I'm going to check this one out, and I'm going to give this one a potentially good. Okay, then we have Beyond the Pale issue #1. This is from Dark Horse, and I'll be honest, the cover is the thing that pulled me in. I was just like scrolling through the #1s, and I'm like, I don't know anything about this, but then I saw this cover, and it's this woman, the close-up of this woman with a old school camera taking a picture, and there's something spooky and supernatural in the lens, and that's what caught my attention. It looks like it's a 4-issue miniseries. She's a war correspondent, Hedda Sawyer, and she is looking at the loss of black soldiers in the Vietnam War, and it looks like it leads to something a little bit more supernatural here as she uncovers the truth. Maybe that's not the case. Maybe it's not supernatural at all. Maybe it's just kind of, well, it says eldritch horror, so definitely supernatural into that. So that caught my attention, and I'll check this one out as well. I'm going to give this one a potentially good also. Next, we have X-Men #35, which legacy numbering is Uncanny X-Men issue #700. I guess if you're combining the two books together. So that's pretty cool. It's a milestone issue, and that's why this one is falling on here. It's also the official end of the Krakoan age, as we know it, the Krakoan era. as this is the follow-up to Fall of the House of X and Rise of the Powers of X. And this supposedly is leading to a moment that will change the future of mutant kind forever. There's an all-star cast of classic X-Men writers and artists involved in this. It's an 84-page book for $9.99, so it's an expensive book. Sounds like there's going to be multiple stories in it as well. Chris Claremont is one of the writers. I'll scroll down and see. Let's see who else we got. We got Kieran Gillen, Al Ewing, Jerry Duggan. On art, we got Sarah Pichelli, Stefano Caselli, Jerome Opeña, Lionel Francis, Phil Noto, Mark Brooks, all kinds of artists and colorists involved in this. Really standout creators involved with this book. So if you are ready for the Krakoan era to be over, to come to an end and move forward, this might be where you pick up and see where things are headed from here. Because of all those factors, I'm going to give it a promisingly good, even though I'm tentative about it, but I'm hopeful for the future of it. And hopefully this will be not just like this celebration, but also give us something concrete to go into this next age of X-Men. Next, we have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Alpha, issue 1 from IDW. This is written by Jason Aaron, and this is kicking off this brand new age, this brand new era of TMNT as these superstar creators take over. I'm just going to read a little bit of this. What's the world without the TMNT? Since their time-spanning victory over Armageddon, the Turtles have started to pursue other interests, leaving a void in New York among humans and mutants alike. This special issue explores the effects this change has on those connected to the brothers, from Old Hob to Jenica, across the 5 boroughs, and all the way through Mutant Island. So, pretty interesting that to kick all this off, this new era of TMNT, we're focusing on side characters within the TMNT universe. Jenica, obviously the other turtle with the yellow headband, I believe, and Old Hob, etc., that we've seen, and so forth. Let's see. We'll also get a first glimpse at a special prequel to the new TMNT #1, written by Jason Aaron, art by Chris Burnham. We've got Tom Waltz doing some stuff in here as well. So yeah, it should be a really cool book if you're a TMNT fan, if you're excited for what's to come next for the franchise. And I am, because I've enjoyed a lot of the run of TMNT. I'm a little bit behind right now because there was a story like that they were telling that I wasn't in love with, and I decided, okay, I'm just going to kind of wait until it resets here. But I'm excited for the next chapter, and I'm going to give this one a promisingly good because of that. As the storm picks up outside, I don't know if you can hear it or not, but the rain is hitting my window pretty heavily, and I can hear the wind. So I'm going to try to move this along. But we got the Ultimates issue #1. It is finally here. We got the tease from Free Comic Book Day, and now we are going to get right into it as they return to greatness. Spinning out of, obviously, Ultimate Universe #1. We have this all-new team of the Ultimates. 6 months ago, Tony Stark, Peter Parker, all this stuff that has gone on in Ultimate Spider-Man and the kickoff to this new version of the Ultimate Universe. That's all happened, and now we are 6 months into the future as we have Iron Lad, Captain America, Doom, Thor, and Sif are forming this new team of the Ultimates, which is basically the Avengers. If you're unfamiliar with the concept of the Ultimates, it's the Ultimate Universe's version of the Avengers. And they are teaming together to destroy the Maker's Council and restore freedom to the world. This is written by Dennis Camp and art by Juan Frigeri. So if you are a fan of the Ultimates, or if you're a fan of those characters from the kickoff to this Ultimate Universe, you'll want to check this one out. For me, I didn't love that story in the Free Comic Book Day book, and the Ultimates were never my favorite of the Ultimate Universe. So I'm going to give this one a potentially good and hope for the best with this one. But so far, for me, Ultimate Spider-Man's been really the only thing I've enjoyed from this version of the Ultimate Universe, which was kind of the case in the original Ultimate Universe as well. So we'll see if that changes going forward. And finally, My most anticipated of all the books coming out next week is Scarlett issue number 1. This is from Image Comics. This is part of the Energon Universe. This is a G.I. Joe spinoff, or G.I. Joe miniseries in the vein of Duke and Cobra Commander. And next we'll have Destro. This is written by Kelly Thompson, who I love, and art by Marco Ferrari. And honestly, I love Duke. I loved Cobra Commander. I love Transformers. I love Void Rivals. I'm loving everything Energon Universe right now. So this is probably going to be no different for me. And then you add Kelly Thompson into the mix. This is kind of a no-brainer for me. Shauna O'Hara is Scarlett's real name. She's about to take her most dangerous Black Ops mission ever, infiltrating this Arashikage Clan, which, if you know anything about G.I. Joe lore, you know that the Arashikage Clan, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. I used to say Arashikage, and then I think I heard it was Arashikage. I'm not sure. But anyway, this is the clan that Storm Shadow is from. That's his family, and it's the one that Snake Eyes learned martial arts from and became part of and became a master of. So she is infiltrating their clan in this miniseries, which is really cool because it means we're going to probably get Storm Shadow out of this, maybe even Snake Eyes. We'll have to see. It looks like she is going to be encountering Jinx in this, though, as well, which is a cousin of Storm Shadow's that was introduced in the G.I. Joe animated movie back in the 80s. I don't remember the year, 87 maybe, 86, 87, I believe. So yeah, Jinx is a really cool character as well, and so we're going to see the women kick butt in this one with Jinx and Scarlett, and I'm so excited about this. I'm excited to see Kelly Thompson's stamp on the G.I. Joe universe. I'm a huge G.I. Joe fan, so for me, I've only seen the preview pages like everybody else, not read it yet, and yet I'm still going to give this one a positively good because I cannot imagine this book being anything but excellent. So I'm really excited about it. I hope you are too. But I would be very surprised if this is not in my top 5. That was the other thing I wanted to talk about, but I'll talk about that at the end of the show. But yeah, that's positively good for me for Scarlett. And that's going to wrap up the anticipated books, the number 1 issues, etc. for next week. I am going to share 5 other books that I'm also anticipating that are not number 1 issues, and then I'll get into what I just kind of briefly mentioned. But first up, we'll go with Miss Marvel Mutant Menace issue number 4. Last issue was just kind of okay for me. It was the Red Dagger issue. I don't love Red Dagger, so I wasn't really into that. But the cliffhanger that we were left with was the Inhumans, led by Medusa, show up to explain to Miss Marvel why her powers are going wonky. And we have not seen the Inhumans in a hot minute. And I'm excited to see them back because it seems like ever since they made Miss Marvel a mutant and, they got the rights to the mutants, the Inhumans just kind of disappeared from the face of the earth. And now to see them back, it's kind of exciting. And I want to see what this interaction unveils for Miss Marvel and how that ties into her Inhuman side as well as her mutant side, and see what her future is going to be from this issue. Then we have Batman issue 148. This is the final act of this story as Batman faces off against Batman, which is Zur-En-Arrh in the failsafe body. So finally we're going to see this confrontation come to a head as the two Batman face off. Shazam issue number 12. Last issue was pretty good as we kind of start to see the whole plot of Shazam being able to take over Billy's body, and not just one of the gods kind of ruling it as we saw in the previous art, but now Shazam is this, or the Captain is this whole other entity that can just take control of Billy's world and is keeping these letters from him. And then at the end of last issue, his mom shows up at their door just as the family was going to try to adopt all the kids. So it's a lot of twists going on with this. And now I think Darla finds out about the captain in this issue. So it's going to be interesting to see all this unfold. Then we have Amazing Spider-Man issue number 51. Last issue, we saw the Green Goblin return, Norman Osborn, and now the Sinister Six is coming into the mix as well. So it's just classic Spidey battles. I enjoyed last issue. Ed McGuinness still on art for this issue, so I'm looking forward to this one as well. And finally, Space Ghost issue number 2. I absolutely love the first issue of the series, and it was nostalgia, but still fresh and more serious take on Space Ghost than we've seen before. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how this story continues in issue number 2. And that's it. That's all the books I got to talk about. The thing that I was teasing, if you don't know, if you came to this channel from seeing me on Comic Book Weekly, if you did not see our last episode of Comic Book Weekly, we did announce our summer kind of hiatus. Really, we just are going on a very smaller schedule for the summer. We're only doing once a month shows, so there will be no episode next week. Our next episode will be June 25th, and then July 30th, and then August 20th, we'll resume our weekly live shows. So for the next few weeks, the only place you will get to see me talking about my top 5 possibly is this channel. So if you are interested to see what my top 5 picks are each week, if you've been watching Comic Book Weekly every Tuesday, what I'm going to try to do now, I'm going to a convention and I'm not coming back until Monday this week. So I don't know if I'll be able to do it this week or not on time, but I'm going to try to at least do a top 5 for this channel in the weeks that we're not doing Comic Book Weekly. So if you are interested in that, I'll keep you apprised of that. And I'll probably do a short version on TikTok as well. So stay tuned for that. Going to try to add a little bit more content in the absence of Comic Book Weekly for all of you. So with that said, I think this show has gone on pretty long now, and it's a good time to start wrapping it up. So again, I'm going to be at Kimo Kauai Anime Convention in Conroe, Texas this weekend. If you are in the area, come see me. And then if you are in the San Antonio area, June 20th through 23rd, I'm going to be at Superhero Comic-Con in San Antonio, set up with the full setup, the comics and the crochet stuff. But we'll be in the vendor area, I believe, for Superhero Comic-Con. And it's a 4-day show, so come out if you're in the area, or if you're coming to the show, come say hi. All right, so with that, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. It does really help. And again, it makes my day. And of course, hit that subscribe notification bell so you don't miss any of the content up on this channel. Of course, follow me across social media at Only Good Comics, and type in onlygoodcomics.com to bring you right back to this channel where we talk about only good comics. Until next time, thanks for watching. Take care. Keep reading those comics, and I'll see you soon.